And we're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Southeast Iowa Union Sports Talk. I am your co-host, Andy Krutzinger. We got another co-host here, Hunter Moeller. And Nick Steffen's on the ones and twos once again with us, the three-man booths here. And we're ready to talk a little bit of high school sports. Hunter, first, before we get into sports, how's your week?
No, pretty good. You know, we got two wins in fantasy, and went to a Cardinals game last week.
Yeah.
So
didn't catch any Albert Pujols home runs, though, right?
Bummed about that one, but hey, got a win, so I'm happy about that. But yeah, it was all around good week. Area schools did well once again, so excited to talk about it and shed some light on the area athletes.
Yeah, and we're lucky you're here today because Hunter had a little car trouble last night, a little panic before the Fairfield volleyball game. We'll get to that.
Wasn't sure if I was going to make it,
but he made it. Now we're here and we're all ready to have a good time. So yeah, there we go. This is our fifth episode? 5 episodes?
Man, we're moving right along.
Wow. We are moving right along. So
milestone.
5th episodes. We should actually call every episode a season. Every week is a season. That would say we ran for 5 seasons. But
sounds good that way too.
However many. Yeah, it does sound good.
Hey, we're at 20 seasons.
We are
you guys
on
been doing this forever.
Yeah, we're on Washington Live, YouTube, Washington Live Facebook, Mount Pleasant Live Facebook, Fairfield Live Facebook, and we are now on Washington Live Spotify, but not live. Nick cuts out all the boring stuff and puts only the fun stuff into Spotify because it's the younger people and they need a little condensed action. So anyway, yeah, bright future, right?
Yeah.
Future so bright?
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to do it for the whole episode. Anyway, let's jump into some high school sports, right? We had a little football this week, right, Hunter?
Oh yeah, we had a lot of good matchups.
And I guess I'm first up here because I was in lovely Mount Pleasant at Maple Leaf Athletic Complex. They played West Burlington Notre Dame in the final non-district game. Mount Pleasant and West Burlington Notre Dame both came in 0-3, so it was one team was going to scoop a win. Sure looked like Mount Pleasant might get it done early. Scored right off the bat, not right off the bat, the second drive. On a pass from Jacob Brickman to Peyton Higgins. That made it 7-0. But that was the last lead Mount Pleasant would have. West Burlington scored 14 in the second quarter. They got a good rushing attack, and West Burlington is big. And Mount Pleasant's not the biggest team in the world, and West Burlington was able to kind of power through the line a little bit. They got 14 in the second quarter, so it was 14-7. Mount Pleasant came back to cut it to 1 on a big pass from Jacob Brickman to Bowen Davis. He sprung loose on the outside there, and it was 14-13. But then before he knew it, it was 30-13. West Burlington had a nasty habit of getting a touchdown and dropping that 2-point conversion on him. So West Burlington's got a speedster back there. That Vandenberg kid that they were running with, he's a big kid, and it was a little daunting. Mount Pleasant kids were a little sore after the game, banging up against those big West Burlington kids.
Yeah, we've kind of seen, we talk about each week that Mount Pleasant kind of, they've got a great passing game, but it's just the defense, they got to figure that out. What from your perspective, being at the game, what does Mount Pleasant need to do to kind of, obviously now the district plays, basically on us, so it's going to be tough. They need to,
They've got a lot harder games coming up. They've got Fort Madison. We'll talk about them in a second, what they just did. Iowa State Liberty at homecoming. Here in a couple weeks. So they got to figure out something on defense. Offensively, it looks good. Rickman threw for over 300 yards again. Wyatt Woodsmall caught 11 passes for 95 yards, so 95 yards is actually pretty low for him. He usually goes over 100. And he had a fantastic interception, actually, after their first touchdown. That was one of the high points for the defense as he was able to pick a ball off. So on the outsides, they're all right, but you got to stop the run, right? It was, even though it was probably the best chance they had to win, the matchup wasn't great for them because of how big West Burlington is. So they got to figure out, the teams they're going to play are going to run. They're going to have some big kids. So, and Mount Pleasant's pretty banged up. So they got to figure something out, really.
Yeah.
Really, I don't know. I wasn't a tackling expert myself, but I've been tackled a lot of times.
It surely doesn't get any easier from here.
Yeah, it doesn't get any easier from here. So
especially with that district.
Wish we had more good news on that, but they got a pretty tough district coming up. And speaking of Fort Madison, the surprise, I thought the biggest surprise from Friday is Washington went into Fort Madison, and I think Fort Madison probably should have been favored. They won last year, and they're 3-0 coming in, but Fort Madison put up the first 37 on Washington. Which, in the Fort Madison-Washington football series, I wonder if Fort Madison had put up 37 points in the last decade, before last year anyway.
Talking about Fort Madison, I feel like Washington's one of the better teams they've played so far, and they've had close games with, all their opponents thus far, and they just really put it on Washington. So we weren't there, so we didn't get to see firsthand what's happening, but. Just like you kind of said, a big surprise out of this one.
It was a little surprising. Fort Madison's got some good seniors there. Taven Stewart still ran for 84 yards for Washington. The passing game only picked up 54. So that they couldn't throw the ball too much. And honestly, that's a lot like the Clear Creek game. It sounded like it was 23-0 at half. It sounded like between the tackles it was fairly even, and Fort Madison just had the plays when it mattered. And it was the same thing with the Clear Creek game when they were able to run for 136. Jude Brown had 43 and a touchdown. Not a lot to do on offense. You know what? Washington's got the opposite problem as Mount Pleasant the last couple of weeks.
Well, yeah, and looking at the really they only allowed their number one rusher 64 yards on the ground, but that Aiden Boyer, who's their quarterback, ran or passed. He completed 24 or 30 for 231 yards, 4 touchdowns. So it sounds like they were hitting some deep balls there. Things like that.
Yeah. So. I think deep balls, and also Fort Madison does a lot of bubble screens. And I was talking to a Washington's trainer, Matt. I don't know his last name. Sorry, Matt. The other day, and he was talking about how it's similar to the way that Mount Pleasant does it. A lot of little short passes, and so. That seems to be maybe something that the Washington can shore up on, is to thwart those little short passing games. Because you can chunk, 5 yards, and before you know it, they're marching down the field. So losses for Washington and Mount Pleasant, but we did have a winner this week. Fairfield Trojans. They went up to Knoxville. I'll tell you what, I covered their game last year against Knoxville at home, and Fairfield throttled them last year. And it's a lot of the same kids. Fairfield's banged up a little bit, but I thought they'd go and throttle them again, but they had a little trouble.
Yeah.
They had to score. They were losing heading into the fourth quarter. They were down 22-21. They came back and won 29-28. So they were able to kind of grind out a win there. Tate Allen had another big game. He threw for 251 and 1. He ran for over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. Max Wheaton caught 9 passes for 116 and a touchdown. So the big guys kind of came through. We've said the Hunter Zassini's hurt. That was a huge player for them, but I had to squeak that out to go to 2-2.
Yeah, for Fairfield, you're just like you're happy to pull out a win too, because when especially I feel like people expected them, like you said, win big. So it's just good that they were able to pull that one out, because that would have been another close loss, comeback loss, or another probably five or less point loss, especially the 3-point loss to Fort Madison the week before. So if you're Fairfield, you're feeling good about that one.
Yeah, that would have been 3 one-score losses in a row if they weren't able to pull that out. And so that's good, because Fairfield's going to play a lot of close games. Spoiler alert, guys. The district that Fairfield and Washington's going in, the 3A district, Keokuk, West Burlington. Solon will probably be, they're the favorites. Yep. They're ranked that they will be the favorites to win. But after that, Grinnell, who Washington plays for homecoming, happy homecoming Washington fans. West Burlington, who Fairfield plays for homecoming in a couple of weeks. Keokuk, a lot of those teams are pretty even. They've shown with mutual opponents that's going to be a dogfight a little bit. So, so between the big schools, we went 1 and 2 there, and you were at one of our biggest small school games, Columbus. It was the game to show that they were, the men amongst boys that they've been the last few weeks, the real deal.
And they did not disappoint.
Tell us about it.
Yeah, so I believe that BC Moore, which does the football rankings, had them, favored by I think it was less than 10 points. But I showed up 2 minutes late because I thought the game started at 7:30. So I got there I got there about 7:04, and it was already 6-0. And I was like, the game's only going for less than a minute. Well, come to find out, we've been talking about Caden Amagon and Tristan Miller, those guys in the run game that they have over there, and let me tell you, it's stout. I came to find out that Amagon busted open for a 48-yard touchdown on second play from scrimmage. So, big run there. They stopped Lisbon. They recovered a fumble on the ensuing drive. Another 2-play drive, and Amagon busted open for a 68-yard touchdown. So, just like that, it's 13-0 Columbus. Amagon on the night finished with 223 yards and 19 carries and 3 touchdowns. Miller, just, more of the same. He had 136 yards on the night rushing, 3 touchdowns. And, we kind of joked about, Columbus not passing the ball.
Yeah.
Well, they threw it 3 times.
3 times.
Completed 1 for 31 yards. And let me tell you, Jeff Hoback can pass the ball.
Yeah,
if they need be. Coach kind of talked about that after the game. They haven't needed to do that. So it's going to be scary if they can do that. But heading to the locker room, Columbus was up 27-0. Lisbon was able to get some points, 14 on the board in that third quarter. But Columbus put their best scoring quarter together in the third, 20 points there, and then Lisbon added 6 in the fourth. But Columbus got a safety late. I mean, it didn't matter by that point. But altogether, Columbus comes out with the 49-20 win. So Wildcats are looking good and they're rolling. And fun fact here, 4-0. They will not have a losing season for the first time since 1997. So congratulations to them.
Yeah, there we go. That's big step, and maybe that's an ace in the hole with not passing the ball. They play. I think that they're favored big time in the next 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. They have Albernet. So Columbus is also receiving votes in the Cedar Rapids Gazette poll. Only 2 votes, both from yours truly. I put him at 9. So Albernet is also receiving votes. So if both those teams win out, they could be ranked by the time that happens. That's a long ways away, but they got a pretty good shot. I bet the atmosphere in Columbus was pretty rocking, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, it was great. They got a great fan base, their community there, and one of the things I wanted to mention is I was talking to Amagon after the game, and he said that kind of like. The mindset has changed over there. Like he said, is when he came in as a freshman, they were kind of lackadaisical with practices, things like that. Now he said they're 100%, 120%, to the wall all the time. So, I think we're kind of seeing that with, this year's Columbus team, and they're definitely showing it on the field. So
yeah, for sure. Well, and we have some other small school games, some wins and some losses. So. We're going to start out with another team that's been rolling, and the other ranked team in the Cedar Rapids Gazette poll. Yep. They shook off Don Bosco, by the way. They were tied for a number 2 spot. They're 1 point ahead now. So number 2 alone, Waco. How'd they do?
Well, we kind of talked about this one. Waco wins this one against Iowa Valley 54-26. And I believe, if I remember right, it was pretty close. It was 0-0 for a while, and people were kind of wondering, what's going on. But, Waco did not falter. Like I said, they pulled this one out against that high-powered Iowa Valley offense. They got, arguably the most dynamic offensive player in the state, and that Evan Kearney, I believe, is his name. But at halftime, Waco, pulled out with a 23-0 lead, and then they scored 31 in the second half to pick up that big win. Yeah. We've got the same names coming in with the stats here. Isaac Oswald threw for 150 yards, 2 touchdowns. Simeon Reichenbach rushed 12 times for 180 yards and 4 touchdowns. And he averaged 15 yards per carry, which is just, you're not going to stop. You're not going to stop anybody doing that. But and then Olaf Shevchuk and Cody Graber both had receiving touchdowns as well. And sorry I had to say his name fast because that one's a hard one.
That was perfect. Big win for them. So they've been on the up and up all year. A team that had struggled a little bit. Not really struggled. They just struggled with losing close games. Was Winfield Mount Union. They were able to put it on. This is me saying put it on for the first time. Last week we talked about me saying not on the show. Afterwards, I say put it on them a lot.
And I say barn burner.
You say barn burner. I was actually going to bring I have a bell, not a cowbell, but like a bell.
We were going to ring it anytime.
I was going to ring it whenever you said barn burner. I didn't bring my.
I haven't said it
today,
yet.
So anyway, that's all right. That was my wife's when she was pregnant. I bought her this bell so she could bring it. And I'd have to, bring her food or whatever. But
is that true?
That is true. That is true. I was like, this is your present. You ring it and I'll be there. I was probably hitting it a good 70% maybe. Anyway, it has nothing to do with football. But WMU, 52-12 over HLV. Cole Milks threw for 149 a touchdown. Cam Buffington rushed for 12 times for 129 yards, so that tells you how long the starters were in that game, that he only ran it for 12 times there. Caleb Giese, by the way, notice I'm pronouncing that one right because I pronounce it like the announcers at Winfield. Caleb Giese, 78 yards on the ground, a touchdown. So Winfield Mount Union back in the spotlight, back in the win column, and back scoring. Well, they were already scoring a bunch of points, but they held HLV to 12, so that was good news for them.
Yeah, and moving on here, we've got a New London squad that's won their third in a row after an 0-2 start. They beat English Valley's 58-12. The Tigers led just 22-12 after one quarter, but they outscored the Bears 36-zip in the second half. Dom Lopez went 9 for 11 through the air with 160 yards and 3 touchdowns. Blaze Porter, he's been big for them. Rushed 3 times for 91 yards. All 3 carries were touchdowns. All 3 of his carries were touchdowns. Bowden Pickle had 5 carries for 64 yards. And then Porter led in receiving as well with 92 yards and a touchdown. Reed and Seaberg finished with 44 yards and a touchdown. And Evan Reed had a touchdown as well. The Tigers are firing on all cylinders, right now, but they've got a real tough matchup against old Waco Warriors over there this week.
At Waco's homecoming. Happy homecoming to the Waco fans.
Yep.
Mid-Prairie, 56-0 over Eddyville Blakesburg Fremont. Big bounce back to Mid-Prairie. They're back rolling again. Braden Hartley, 152 on only 11 carries. He scored 5 times. That was a great tribute from Mr. Hartley to score 5 touchdowns in honor of the Southeast Iowa Union Sports Talk Show hitting their 5th episode this week. That was really thoughtful of him. Landon Sullivan and Jaron Thomas each scored also. So big win for Mid-Prairie.
Yeah, and another team that's, pulled out some big wins as of late is Sigourney Keota. And they down Pleasantville 35-13. They might be one of the hottest teams right now after a couple tough losses to start their season. They were both tied 7-7 after one, and then the Cobras outscored the Trojans 28-6 the rest of the way. Sawyer Stout finished with 44 yards passing, one touchdown. Cole Clarahan's been huge on the ground for them. Same again, carried the ball 19 times for 168 yards and 1 touchdown. Isaac Bruns followed with 95 yards and a touchdown, and Cole Kindred had a rush for a touchdown as well. And Aiden Anderson also had a receiving touchdown. Like I said, no one might be as hot as Sigourney Keota right now, but they've got top 5 ranked Pella Christian coming to their house this week, right. So that's going to be a real tough one for them, but a real intriguing matchup.
That's right. If you want it's a little speed and power, Sigourney Keota football, Columbus football. Caparado in Washington. Central Decatur 56, Cardinal 20. The Comets had a tougher matchup here. Carson Kinney threw for 71 and a touchdown, but they were ousted by 36. Cardinal plays at Van Buren County's homecoming this week, so chance for one of those guys to get a win. And speaking of Van Buren County, they're next up. How they do?
Yeah, we already mentioned this team. They went up to Pella Christian, and as you might guess, it was a tough one. Pella Christian wins this one 45-0. Pella scored 35 in the first quarter, 7 in the second, and 3 in the third. And, overall to pull up that win. Jackson Manning only threw for 28 yards in the loss. Obviously, Pella Christian's one of the better teams in that class.
Yeah.
So and then the Warriors only had 42 yards on the ground. So just an overall tough week for the Warriors. But mentioned they got their homecoming playing Cardinal. So it's gonna be a barn burner between those two teams down there in Keosauqua.
Yeah, that's right. And happy homecoming too.
Yep.
Our Van Buren County fans. It's a big homecoming.
Yeah, it is.
Wapello 21, Pekin 6. They were able to hold. Wapello's a pretty good football team, pretty good offense. Pekin held them. There was 14-6 at halftime, but the offense just couldn't quite get there. The defense seems to be doing all right for Pekin. Them and Cardinal having a similar issues. I know they're pretty fierce rivals. I hate to put them all in one bag, but
right.
A little more offense, and that'll turn into some wins here pretty soon. And then we got Highland next.
Yeah, it's been a tough season for Highland so far. They've played some just tough crazy good opponents. North Cedar was probably one of the lesser teams they played, but Highland's still got to work through losing all that talent that they did.
Yep.
They lose this one 36-19 against North Cedar. Sage Hartley Norman had 185 passing yards. He also led on the ground with 37 yards. And Aiden Havel finished with 5 receptions for 89 yards, and Ethan Paisley had 4 catches for 68 yards. So just another tough week for Highland. But I always say brighter things are ahead once those kids that had to replace that good senior class come in and get it all figured out. But
for sure, and that's the end of our high school teams. So we had one more game.
Yep.
How about the High Wesleyan Tigers? And I have this football shout out to the Fairfield Trojan yearbook class hat. This should do numbers because I told them that they better be watching Southeast Iowa Union Sports Talk.
They better.
We threw the plastic pigskin around to practice some action shots. See, throw it around a little bit.
We'll throw it around.
Oh, please catch it. There we go. So Iowa Wesleyan, 55-0 over Finlandia University. I asked if you went to Finlandia, if you had to be from Finland. You don't. But 55-0, and Iowa Wesleyan's defense held Finlandia to a cool negative 107 yards.
That might be the craziest stat I've ever seen.
That is crazy. Shout out Major Nickham earned his first player interview, and he returned a fumble 69 yards to the house right off the bat. They forced, I think, 5 and recovered 4. The defense was just all over Finlandia. They dominated. The passing game looked good too, but it was a good one for the Iowa Wesleyan defense. Iowa Wesleyan now 2-2, headed into conference play in the North Star Athletic Conference. So they could make. I looked at BC Moore has stuff for NIA too. and they should be in and favored in a lot of games in the conference this year. So it could be a good one.
That's good for them because they've been playing pretty well. They had a couple tough matches to start the season, but games to start the season, but they've been playing pretty well as of late.
This could be the year for MD Daniel's squad. So I'll let you. We better give him 30 seconds to think about negative 107 yards of offense and what that means. So we're gonna go to commercial here. We will see you in 30 seconds. Boom, we're back. Hope you enjoyed your 30 seconds without us. We are here, Southeast Iowa Union Sports Talk Live. Once again, we are on Washington Live's Facebook, Mount Pleasant Live Facebook, Fairfield Live Facebook, Washington Live YouTube, and now you can catch us on Spotify. If you're watching this live, it's not quite live yet, but put us on Spotify. There is video on Spotify too, not just audio, so that's also Washington Live. So Southeast Iowa Union Sports Talk, we are taking off. Once again, I better be getting some views from those Fairfield High School yearbook kids that I taught them how to get on the YouTube. I said, at least click it so we get the view. Come on.
Right.
But
add it to the total.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And speaking of Fairfield, you were at Fairfield High School one day after I was, but you were there for some volleyball last night. How'd that go?
Yeah, Fairfield hosted Burlington, and in the end, it was a tough loss for Fairfield, 3-1 to the Greyhounds. Really kind of the name of the game for the Trojan. This one is they just had a lot of service errors and hitting errors. They end up losing the first set 25-19, and those errors kind of put them down big, and they always climb their way back to within 2, or 3, always within 5. But then they just could never get back on top. So that was kind of the name of the game and the loss for this. But they, like I said, they lose the first set 25-19, bounce back, and in the second set we saw. They weren't making as many errors, and they win at 25-17.
Yeah.
But then they kind of got back to that in the last, in the third and fourth. So they lose that 25-23 both times in those sets. And their kill efficiency percentage on the night was .098.
Yeah,
that's a tough stat. And then their serve efficiency was 79.8%. So they were kind of giving up a lot of easy points there. The loss. Now these two teams are tied at the top of the conference at 3-1. On the night, leading in kills is Macy Rayburn with 15, sister Maggie Rayburn with 13, Addie Farrell and Maya Lane each had 6. Maddie Jones racked up 46 assists. Obviously, she's their main setter. Jones also had 3 aces on the night, and Cody Engel and Kaya Robertson each had 1. Mm-hmm. And then Robertson finished with 16 digs, and Lily Bergeron had 15. So there's a lot of bright spots. Obviously, those are easy fixes, and they got a big match against Washington coming up next week, and then it's a Southeast Conference tournament play round 1. So like I said, tough loss. One I'm sure they felt like they should win, but the Trojans can bounce back next week and prepare for that conference play.
Yeah, and they'll get them in a couple weeks because that conference tournament is a round robin, so everyone plays everyone. So everyone's afforded one off night, right? Fairfield was alone in first, and now it's a little more competitive. Well, I was in Washington last night. And this is about Washington came in struggling. They had lost 9 in a row, and Fort Madison was actually 0-11 coming in last night. So it was a couple of hungry teams, but Fort Madison had the magic a little bit. It's a little bit of a struggle for Washington. They lost in 4 sets last night, and it was they were close sets the whole way. Washington actually had a lead, a pretty substantial lead in the first set and the second set. In fact, they were up 6-3 in the first set, 7-2 in the second set at one point. Lost both of those. Fort Madison just kind of scrapped back. I know that they were keeping the ball alive. Washington made a few mistakes, but Fort Madison's defense didn't look like an 0-11 defense, that's for sure. They looked pretty strong. So Fort Madison won the first two, 25-18, 25-22. Had a chance to get the sweep, but then 14-14, Alex Murphy scored three kills in a row. Boom, boom, boom in the third set. That was huge for them. She's one of their better players, obviously, and one of their more experienced players. So that kind of aided them to a 25-19 win in the third set. And then the fourth set, that freshman Leighton Messinger had herself a really nice game. She had some early kills there to keep them in it, and Fort Madison was strong. They jumped out to a 9-4 lead or a 9-3 lead even. And then Messinger kind of got into it, kind of willed them back a little bit. Ella Greiner had a huge spot where they were down 19-16. Greiner had a kill, boom, 19-17, and then ace, 19-19. But they could never take back the lead. It was tied 19-19, 20-20, and 21-21. And Fort Madison just, pretty hungry for a Southeast Conference win, and they were able to just kind of scrap it out there at the end.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like we kind of saw the same story almost. Like, both Fairfield and Washington played, really, had the opportunity to win. Like,
Yep.
In the third set there, Fairfield was down 19-10, scored 7 straight, brought it back within 2, but it's kind of the same story. You just could never get back the lead because, had those mistakes really hurt them. And, I was asking Coach Herman and Rebling, and they talked about just being more consistent with in the spots where they missed. But they got, both teams have a great opportunity to bounce back. Obviously, they're playing each other this coming week, so so it's going to be interesting to see that one. I
gotta say, I blamed it on. So I was talking to Coach Aaron Six after the game last night. He's got the triplets. If you're basketball fans. The 3 6s, AJ. Oh goodness, Alex and AJ, Alex and A. It's blanking on me right now, but he's got triplets, and everyone in the student section last night was wearing nice Washington orange shirts, including 2 of his 3 kids, and one just happened to have a red shirt on. So we decided that 33% of red was too much if he would have been wearing orange. So we kind of had a little fun with him, blaming him for the loss after the game. But
you said he stood out like a sore thumb.
He did. So yeah, he did. I'm colorblind, so I can hardly tell the difference between orange and red. But anyway, Mount Pleasant last night. Get that 3rd-6 name up. Mount Pleasant last night went down to Keokuk. That was a wild game. It was Mount Pleasant won in 5 sets, so it was 1-1, and Mount Pleasant had a 24-20 lead in the 3rd set. Keokuk came back 6 in a row to win 26-24. So then Mount Pleasant needed the 4th set. They won it. Jakara Ivy had a big kill at the end of that to win it 25-23. I guess it wasn't a kill. I think it was returned over the other line, so she probably didn't get a kill on it. But that was a pretty big one. And then 3rd set goes to 15, and Mount Pleasant absolutely dominated. They scored 7 of the first 8 points. Ended up winning that one 15-5. It was 10-5. They closed out the last 5, and Addison Clark, a freshman, had a big moment there at the end. Andrea Lopriato served it, and it was kind of returned right up to the net, and Clark jumped up and smashed it down on him, and Mount Pleasant was able to get a pretty big win. So Mount Pleasant now is 2-2 after starting 0-2. Yeah,
really, in this conference, it's going to go either way. Pretty much everyone's, no one's out of reach of the top spot, really. Washington gets a win over Fairfield. Fairfield pulls away a little bit, and if Burlington loses, there's many different directions that this could, the conference can shake out to be, and we haven't even got to the tournament yet. So
yeah, the tournament's wild. I was saying earlier that the way the tournament is set up is the top 2 teams are supposed to play against each other, which it'll be like right now it'd be Burlington and Fairfield. But the last 2 years, that game that's set up to be the conference championship game has meant nothing. Last year, Mount Pleasant already had it wrapped up, and they actually lost to Fairfield at the end. And then 2 years ago, it didn't mean nothing, but Mount Pleasant won the conference championship they were sitting on the bleachers watching. They needed, I believe, Fort Madison to lose maybe in the last, and they did. So it's a really fun little round robin tournament. It's 2 days, but it's wild when it comes to the tiebreakers and all the other stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, and confirmation on the triplets names. It's Aiden, AJ, and Avery.
Aiden, AJ, Avery. We'll know those during basketball season. That's probably 3 of their 5 starters. So, shout out to the triplets. You better be watching. All right, now we got some more volleyball here.
Yep.
We had 5 teams in action, 4 or 5 teams in action last night. A couple winners, right?
Yeah, big winner is number 15 ranked Golden Hawks. They sweep Durant last night 3-0. That's now 4 wins in their last 5, and they had that huge win against that 12th ranked Wilton last week. So Golden Hawks keep rolling. Kind of as the season as their kind of season starts to dwindle down to the conference. Leading into their conference tournament. That's what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah.
But if we want to just move along here, Hillcrest picked up their 2nd win last night. They played Rivermont Collegiate, won 3-0. Probably the craziest stat I've seen coming out of volleyball is they tallied 31 aces.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
Kylie Stater finished with 10. Claire Withrow finished with 11 assists. Malia Yoder 8 kills. Lydia Beachy ended with 4 digs. And the Columbus volleyball was in a trio last night at English Valleys. They've lost 2-1 to English Valleys and Louisa Muscatine. Cardinal fell to Centerville last night in 3 sets. Brianna Guter, I believe you saw, that's how you say her name, right?
Yep.
Led with 10 kills on the night, and Megan Ward finished with 9 assists. So we didn't have a lot of teams in action last night, but big wins by Mid Prairie. They keep, they're going to stay there in probably the top of the top 15. Some big wins recently, and then Hillcrest getting their second win. So not a lot happening last night, but
big in the Wellman Kelowna
up in that area. Yeah. A couple big wins.
Yeah. Well, speaking of crazy stats, by the way, I was in Waco for Waco Pekin on Thursday. And Waco's red hot. They're undefeated in the North Division right now. And Marie Farmer, she's a junior for Waco, served 23 points in a row in the second set. They swept Pekin in that one. And she almost had 25. A kill kind of sailed over the back line there, but that was quite amazing. I'd never seen something like that before, where it was almost 25-0, and she served really, really well.
Yeah, that's crazy. 23 straight points.
Yeah. And and then I'll apologize to Waco's Zoe Dindler, who I called Marie Farmer after the game because I got my 14s and 24s mixed up. So it was embarrassing for me getting the names wrong. But
I remember you told me
I put her in the newspaper if she's watching or coach is watching. I put her in the newspaper as a made up for it. Got a picture in the newspaper. Anyway, so I was at Waco, saw that sweep, and you were.
Yeah, I headed up to Hillcrest Academy, and it was a battle of. It was Hillcrest versus Columbus, and it was a battle of one-win teams. And Columbus is dealing with some injuries, but they pull out this one 25-13, 25-20, 25-21 for the sweep. Columbus got their second win of the season, and they're one of their main hitters, Lily Coyle, went down with an injury, and I believe she just had surgery at 5:00 that day. So that would have been Thursday.
Oh, really?
So tough loss for them there, but they get their second win against Hillcrest, and like we just mentioned earlier, Hillcrest got their second win. So both are doing well as of late. Besides Columbus's tough losses against English Valleys and Louisa Muscatine last night, but
Lily Coyle's our reigning All-Union Player of the Year in softball, so she hits like 900. So that's pretty good. Also getting some big, speaking of first wins, by the way, Iowa Wesleyan Volleyball has gotten a couple of wins. They were winless as of our show last week. Won one in the tournament this weekend. Swept Faith Baptist Bible College in Graceland, or in wherever that is, Lamoni or wherever. Last night, actually that might be Nimoyna, Graceland's in Lamoni. Whatever, they lost to Iowa Wesleyan, so a big one for them. And then Iowa Wesleyan, just a quick note on the old Tigers. First for the women's golf team at Monmouth this weekend, and second for the men's golf team. So. And speaking of Columbus, by the way, since we're on Columbus, and Columbus stars a former Columbus prep, Aubrey Duncan, first place in that tournament by 20 strokes. Pretty amazing. So I had to go Iowa Wesleyan there because she reminded me of the first. Well, yeah. They got a really. I always say that every kid plays for Iowa Wesleyan is a local kid because they live in in Mount Pleasant or wherever. But they got a lot of local high school kids that we used to cover on their teams. So let's see, we got a little bit of cross country last week in Fort Madison, right?
Yeah, we had Washington, Danville, New London sweep on both sides. On the boys' side, Washington won with 33 points. Mount Pleasant was fourth with 77. Fairfield was fifth with 118. The Washington girls finished first with 31 points. Mount Pleasant third with 88. Fairfield fourth with 105. On the boys' side, Danville, New London took first with 41. Edged Mediapolis by 1 point. I know Mediapolis has got some good runners too. Winfield, Mount Union finished third with 101. Columbus fourth with 127. And Van Buren ninth with 187. And then on the girls' side, Danville, New London took that one as well with 43 points. Columbus finished third. So, great all-around performance for them. For those teams anyway. Micah Reese took the win for Washington, number 1 overall spot. Andrew Reese finished third, and Tyler Alderton fourth. Those are our guys inside the top 10. For Mount Pleasant, Ben Carthy finished second. And then for the Washington girls, Ira Stahl took second. Quincy Griffiths third, and Lauren Horrock took seventh. And Olivia Anderson finished ninth. We got a lot of people inside the top 10. Angeline Anderson 10th. Kendall Hendrickson 11th. And Isabel Luan 15th. So I'm telling you, we got some dominant runners. For Mount Pleasant, Emma Welcher finished 5th. Bella Meador finished 6th. For Fairfield, Carly Seeley placed 12th. Ryland Martin was our top finisher in the small school boys. He finished 2nd. Carter Fessler took 4th. Coy Garrett 7th. Taylor Whaley 9th. For Winfield, Colby Newsom finished 6th. Columbus was led by Damian Vergara, 15th. And on the girls' side, Elena Gorley and Cameron Sherwood went 1 and 2 on the girls' side from Danville, New London. And for Columbus, Ariana Vergara finished 8th. So I just read off a lot of names, but there was a lot. We got a lot of good cross country runners out here.
We'd always talk about how good the freshman girls cross country. Elena Gorley's a freshman, isn't she?
Yeah.
For Danville, New London. Now they're another freshman instead. I was gonna say though, I bet the Washington girls ran so well because they probably had some pasta at Wagon Wheel Bar and Grill in Washington. I bet you. Anyway,
You think so?
yeah, I think so. Oh, before we go, I had something I want to talk about. We talked about theme days last year at the games. Right now it's homecoming season in, among others, Washington, Waco, Van Buren County. I saw some fun days for the dress-up days. You dress up every single day of homecoming. I don't know if I had mentioned last week that Cardinal did a meme day.
Yep.
And that I thought you should just dress up as 3 Spider-Mans that walked in.
That'd be hilarious.
The big thing right now, I've been told that maybe Mount Pleasant Middle School did this last year, Adam Sandler Day.
I think somebody did that. I saw that.
Yeah, Waco did it this Monday, and then I believe that Mount Pleasant's got it up for there. So Adam Sandler Day. What character would you? I guess. I don't know.
That's tough.
That's tough. A lot of Adam Sandler's characters all look the same. Am I Adam Sandler right now wearing this? Am I the water or am I Billy Madison?
Look like it.
I guess.
Kind of look like it.
Or Happy Gilmore maybe. Walk around at the golf club.
That'd be a cool one to be.
Yeah. Go full on pads and be the water boy.
That'd be cool.
I don't know, but I thought that was pretty cool. So that was great. I actually was talking about that the other day at the Fairfield yearbook class.
Yeah.
Third shout out because I told him I'd shout him out when I was teaching him about sports photography. So
it's a great idea though.
Yeah,
Thinking outside the box on that one.
yeah, that is kind of cool. I don't
You gotta go shave your head, get a little.
Oh, could you imagine if they went all out on it? Could you dress us up as Rob Schneider on the Adam Sandler Day?
That'd be a good one.
That would be kind of outside the box right there.
He's got some crazy characters.
Yeah. Imagine being so popular that you have your own day.
That's crazy.
It is. And how about Andy Krutzinger Day?
Hey, and Adam Sandler's a good athlete too.
Is he?
He's good at basketball.
Are you sure you watched Happy Gilmore and you thought it was on ESPN?
No, he's really good at
Is he
basketball.
good at basketball?
Look it up.
Didn't know that. I'll look it up. All right. That's pretty much all we got here, right, today?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I
Went
don't
through
know.
pretty much everything. But
Yeah, we can throw the ball around as we sign out here.
Yeah,
Here, I'll
we
put
can.
my shades on here. How cool can I look? Got the shades.
You look pretty cool.
We'll see you next week. Drink my Calypso.
Yeah.
These are sugary, so you got to go to Delta Dental if you're drinking
Delta
Calypso.
Dental. Yeah.
And I'm gonna bang.
I get all
Throw the
lefty.
ball
A
around.
little lefty.
Play us out.